It'll light you on
Okay,
fire.
let's see how
Another
that.
bad thing.
Thank you.
Hey, you're
Are we
welcome.
rolling?
We rolling?
No, not on Facebook. Let me just adjust.
So I just want to
Speaking
know,
in
so I
favor
know
of
when to stop the
Prop
tequila jokes.
207, I always thought it was hypocritical that they would put you in prison for a joint, but you could go to the store and buy a bottle of Everclear
No, I agree.
and chug that.
I agree.
It's like, which is more destructive there?
It's all evened out now. It's
Well,
okay.
in my opinion, people, that in the grand scheme of things, the ones that were drinking were a far more significant threat to society.
Sure, no.
Whereas the person who was out smoking weed, is probably going to be sitting in a corner somewhere giggling and eating a Twinkie.
That they're not out, yeah, they're at home watching the
But you heard what
movie.
happened in
Yeah.
Oregon, right?
Watching
They
SpongeBob.
legalized every.
Watching SpongeBob and zombie movies.
Yay!
Bugs Bunny, hell yeah.
Oh, I
They legalized
did have a chance to see
Everything that was
Navy
illegal, they
SEAls
made
versus
legal.
the zombies this week.
Yeah.
Oh. How about the other movie? How about The Final Measure?
I don't know if you saw it. but
Remember I told you about that one? I'll text
We
you.
can know,
The
to be
movie,
politically correct, we can no longer
the
call them
about
tweakers.
the Medal of Honor
Mexican
winner, the
American.
Air Force Medal of Honor with William Hurt and
I just love that.
yeah.
I just thought that was classic stuff.
That
They're
was-
Mexican American.
Okay, I wrote it down.
Printed by George has a picture up on the wall. It's a golden lab, a black lab, and then a meth lab. His dog's all like,
Oh, way down.
I'm borrowing this little stand here. This is
yeah,
this your
The Final
stand?
Measure.
Yeah, I don't need it
One
right
with
now.
I-
Christopher Plummer, Peter Fonda,
What is that?
William Hurt, The Final Measure.
Oh, yeah,
Real,
yeah.
you've seen that one?
Yes.
Okay, here we go in
Yeah.
30
All
seconds.
right, going live right
Taking
there.
it out this very day.
Bring out your dead.
Okay, stop the off-color jokes. We're on live on Facebook.
What?
Good morning.
Good morning.
15 seconds, and we're gonna be live on the radio too. Good Finally Friday. Thanks for joining
Hi,
us.
Facebook.
Are we bipolar?
No, I just have one.
Oh.
Not sure that was the right line.
I don't think it was either.
I'm wearing
Good
the.
Finally Friday morning, 6 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock, and we're at 64 degrees right now at the K-Rim Studios on West Frontier in Payson. With me in the studio this morning for your community spotlight, it's none other than, of course, it's Friday, so it's your hometown movie guys, Tina, Craig, and Andy. And
In case we forget who we are, I'm wearing us.
Yay!
Tina's doing the big reveal, and it's all good. So, at any rate,
Don't go there.
okay, I won't.
Okay.
Is your microphone working, or are you just talking?
Oh, I'm way far away.
Okay, there you go. All right, so we got you all dialed in
Good
now.
morning.
There's
baby.
And the really good news this morning, we've been talking, movies here for a long time, but the really exceptional.
still are.
And it ain't gonna change. But the really exceptional news that we're glad to talk about this morning is it looks like things are finally getting back to normal, whatever normal is, in the movie biz here in Payson. And Craig from the Sawmill Theaters, we were talking just before going on the air. You got some, for a while now, you've been just like replaying movies that maybe we've seen before and stuff like that because there wasn't a lot being released, but that all changes today.
A little bit, yeah. We've got, we're still gonna have some of these classics mixed in here, but today we have Let Him Go opening up. That's Kevin Costner and Diane Lane.
Yes.
This is a legit movie.
Diane Lane,
Opening-
she's been in a
yeah.
lot of movies. I really
Oh,
like
I
her.
like her.
Oh, yeah. Well, and, Kevin Costner, of course,
Right.
has
Yeah.
an amazing career.
Yeah.
So,
I heard that he dances with wolves.
Dances with Wolves.
That was a good movie, by the way. Weird,
Yeah,
long.
Well, then he followed it with Waterworld and
Yeah,
The
Water-
Postman that didn't do quite so well.
But it was good. I liked it.
I
Waterworld?
heard-
I love. No, well, no, I did not like
Waterworld.
what. No, but I like The Postman.
Yeah, for a little while, Kevin Costner was an authentic A-lister, and then he's as Greg said, he came out with two just horrible bombs. Both of those movies actually I like quite a bit, but the public did not, and his career just went right in the dumper. And he made a movie last year where he played the voice of a dog.
That would be rough. Sorry.
Thank you so much for that.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
Yeah,
But yeah, if we have time, I do want to talk some more about Kevin Costner, because he has had an interesting career.
We'll give you a limited amount of time because I have a theme as well.
Ah,
The other one we got too then is now next Wednesday.
next
So
Wednesday.
yeah, we need to talk this Veterans Day.
This coming
It
Wednesday.
is coming Wednesday.
Not
Veterans
last
Day.
Wednesday.
Veterans Day.
There you go.
That's right.
Normally we're closed on Wednesdays.
Right?
We are going to be open this Veterans Day
Good.
all day. We're starting that one out. We've got Midway.
Ooh.
That's the Charlton Heston one.
Right?
A good one.
1972, I believe.
Right.
Oh.
70, 72. But
Yeah.
we're going to be doing that one for free. That's sponsored by the Rim Country Republicans.
Very cool.
So we'll be getting that one at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then 1 o'clock that day, we've got Hillbilly Elegy opening up. This is a Ron Howard film with Glenn Close, Amy Adams. This is an early
Amy
front runner.
Adams.
This is an early front runner for Best Picture.
Really?
Yeah.
We're talking Glenn Close has had 7 Academy Award nominations now. She has never won. We think this might be the one that she gets through on.
She has a
Wow.
fatal attraction to the Oscars.
Ah. I know a little bit about Hillbilly Elegy in that I live in Tonto Basin. But actually
When
everything.
you go home tonight, they're gonna pull up the drawbridge.
It's gonna get ugly. Anyway, the bottom line is I've heard some really stellar things about that movie. It's supposed to really be.
It's supposed to be pretty intense. It's kind of tracing a little bit of a heavy theme, I guess. It's tracing alcoholism through generations.
Wow.
I think we've all probably seen how that tends to kind
And it
of
does kind of replicate itself from one.
repeat itself. Sure, yeah, and that's what this
It's in
is.
my family.
Glenn Close being the grandma, and then Amy Adams the daughter, and then Amy Adams' son is kind of trying to break through that cycle.
Wow. That sounds
So,
interesting.
like I said, if you get a chance to watch the trailer, it's on our website too. Then
You were saying it's kind of even just the trailer, so a little bit of a tearjerker.
it was, like I said, the acting looks.
Of course. I mean, he cries during cornflake commercials, so.
He cries when he hears the word Disney.
I don't think cry is the right
Cry,
word.
yeah.
Maybe that
Cries
wasn't
are the
crying,
word.
maybe that was
He fires up the
wailing
chainsaw.
and, wailing and gnashing of teeth.
Cut down a tree or something.
So we got,
But
yeah,
Hillbilly Elegy should be just spectacularly.
Who's the director? Ron
good
Howard.
movie.
Ron Howard,
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
has Ron Howard produced anything that wasn't stellar?
No.
See, I don't think so.
I mean, he's been top of the chart ever since
Yeah.
Mayberry.
Probably, almost everyone has some kind of a stinker floating around out
Right.
there. I'll bet he something we never even heard of.
Maybe so.
We'll Google it. I'll Google it.
He probably had, probably it was in one of the crowd scenes in Waterworld or something.
Well,
Anyway.
and we were just talking about Kevin Costner.
Right?
Kevin Costner early in his career, had a chance to work with Ron Howard. And I think you guys remember Night Shift, a really
Yes.
tremendous movie.
Yes.
Ron Howard directed that, and Kevin Costner played frat boy number 1.
Oh, that was his title in the movie,
Yeah.
Frat Boy Number 1.
Yeah.
So this was a big
Name-
leading role.
Yeah.
Nameless frat boy.
Yeah, this was, his first one was Sizzle Beach, USA, and then Chasing Dreams. Never heard of either one of those, but Night Shift was terrific. He
That
just
was
had a
good,
tiny,
yeah.
tiny role in
Yeah.
there.
Right? Very interesting.
But then he burst
Ron
upon the
Howard.
scene in, oh, come on, cowboy movie,
Oh,
Jump
Dances-
Up in the
Dances
World,
with-
Silverado.
And that's really
he was-
where I first saw him.
Love that movie.
I
Love him in
Every
that
time I
movie.
see it come on TV, and I think I've got it on DVD too, but I haven't gotten tired of watching that yet.
Yeah.
Daniel Glover, I
Oh.
don't remember seeing much of him prior to that
And
movie.
Linda Hunt.
Yeah.
The great Linda Hunt, who, was so versatile. She played a man in The Year of Living Dangerously with Mel Gibson and Sigourney Weaver. It was about Indonesia. That's a cool movie.
That's
We're
right,
talking
no,
about.
absolutely,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a cool movie.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk more
yeah.
about coup movies in a
Coup.
little bit.
Good they thought.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So now the movie you were talking about, where Kevin Costner played this bit part, what year about are we talking about?
Night Shift was in 1982.
82? Wow, that has been a few years ago.
That featured the Fonz.
The Fonz.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
You know, Silverado, that was mid to late 80s?
Yeah.
Let's see, 1985. Just
85.
pretty much right in the middle of the 80s.
Yeah, gotta love it.
As you said.
And it's probably the only time you'll hear me say anything correct all hour long. The bottom line is, I just think he's been a very versatile actor. That Dances with Wolves, talk about an epically long movie. I mean, I almost start dozing when I think of the movie.
Beautifully filmed.
But the cinematography was astounding, and really, I think overall the message and everything was really good. And it's a long movie. If I didn't mention that already.
Yes.
That was
And by the way, it was a long movie.
that was a best picture, yeah.
Yeah, you got best picture.
You know,
No.
real quick, another best picture, The Unforgiven.
Oh.
That opens today at Sawmill Theaters.
The
Unforgiven?
Oh.
Yes,
On the big screen?
yes.
I was just looking into that last night because the late great Sean Connery is in that.
Yeah.
Oh, Sean Connery.
Yeah, you know, it's
know.
and I don't believe there was ever a 007 as good as Sean
I
Connery.
agree.
Wait, no, Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm talking about the Untouchables.
Ah,
That's what- yeah,
Oops.
no, yeah,
Sorry,
Clint Eastwood,
Radio
yeah, this is
Land,
Clint
Facebook
Eastwood,
Clint Eastwood, yeah,
I think, well, a top
yeah,
5 Western of all time anyway.
yeah,
right.
yeah, I agree.
And he was in a number of them.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, needless to say. Well, all the way back to the really old.
good, the bad, the ugly.
Oh, thank you.
Well, then he was in a lot of those.
Unforgiven, those
What
are
are
the-
they called?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Spaghetti westerns.
Spaghetti. I was trying to think of what the first word
Sergio
was.
Leone,
Yeah.
High Plains
Yeah.
Drifter.
Yeah.
Fistful of Dollars.
right, and Ennio Morricone did the music, and he's one of my favorite movie conductors. So,
I can't even say his name.
Sure you can.
Again, and that was what Dances with Wolves was 91?
90.
90? Was it 90?
90 exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then Unforgiven was 92?
So he was
So-
kicking
It's a
out,
golden age there.
kicking out some
Yeah.
amazing movies there for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah,
really.
a couple that were right there together.
Yeah.
That,
You know, Kevin Costner did a movie that was on either Netflix or Prime. It was with Woody Harrelson.
Hmm.
And I believe, wasn't it, Andy, I'm going to ask your opinion, it was called The Highwaymen? And it
Yeah.
was the true
Mhm.
story of Frank Hamer, the Texas Ranger, who was extraordinary, who took down Bonnie and Clyde. And the Bonnie and Clyde movie, you know, the 1960s with Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty, Frank Hamer's family was extremely angry about that because it misportrayed him dreadfully. And they came out and endorsed Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson in The Highwaymen because they said that was really, Bonnie and Clyde were sociopathic murderers. And they killed a lot of innocent people, and you know, to adulate them as folk heroes was really bad because they murdered so many people. And
Right.
Frank Hamer was the guy. And I just read a really interesting article about, would you believe, election stealing. I
Ah,
did, and it was Lyndon Johnson was running against a guy named Coke something back in Texas for Senate, I think it was. And Frank Hamer came out with Lyndon Johnson's opponent, and Lyndon Johnson, it is now proven that he stole the election.
wow.
Imagine that, right? I mean,
The old-fashioned way. But
The old- yeah.
Stuffing ballot boxes.
oh, he was
Very traditional.
He was such a corrupt guy, yeah. But anyway, Frank Hamer, you know, Kevin Costner plays Frank Hamer, and it was really a good movie.
Well, now and we're going to talk
That was,
about.
1919, it was just last year.
Yeah, that was great. You can see it.
Now we're going to talk about coup d'etat movies here in just a minute, but before we do, what else is rounding out the slate of films at the Sawmill Theaters this weekend? If people are going to go out tonight and
so
maybe,
the two we got, Unforgiven,
right,
Clint Eastwood,
Right.
Best Picture, and then Let Him Go
right,
is the other one. Kevin Costner. Those are the two big ones that are just opening up. We're still holding on to Beetlejuice.
ah,
Beetlejuice, some for the, PG for the kids there.
yeah,
We got Come Play, so that's kind of a horror flick.
right.
Randy, is it a horror flick or kind of a horror flick?
No, I would say it's a horror flick.
Yeah.
Yeah. The setup is that there's a demon or an entity, let's say, named Larry, that focuses on
Larry?
yeah, it focuses on an autistic kid. Sure, with a name like Larry, and you're a kid, you're not frightened. Larry just wants to be your friend. And it is pretty terrifying.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a good horror movie. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and then straight horror, we still have The Exorcist.
Ah,
We'll do that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday will be the last day for that
trying
one.
to think of a scarier movie than that, and
Yeah,
nothing is
that's-
coming to
that's-
mind.
You know, and that's one too. Everyone thinks horror, but it's one of the highest rated films of all times too. This is up there with The Godfather as far as being critically acclaimed.
Yeah.
And Sissy Spacek, did she? I mean, was there ever anything
Oh,
else?
she's not in that.
Linda
It was
Blair.
Linda
Linda Blair.
Blair.
Linda Blair. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Sissy Spacek was in Carrie.
That's right,
You're thinking
Carrie.
that.
But Linda Blair too. I mean, was there ever any other movie that got up anywhere close to The Exorcist as far as notoriety?
Shampoo.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
I'm sorry, not shampoo. Yeah, shampoo.
That was with Warren Beatty
With
and
Warren
Julie
Beatty.
Christie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
And-
this.
And she played.
Linda Blair was in
Linda
that?
Blair played.
Oh, okay.
She played
She was
the.
in that. It
she-
wasn't a horror movie though.
No,
It
no,
was.
but no,
It was
but
sort
it
of
was.
horrible.
No, it was, but it was an extremely well done movie.
It was good. Yeah, Warren Beatty back in the day. Man, he was.
Rinse, repeat.
Yes.
I
Interesting.
guess it's hard to follow up The Exorcist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you only got so much,
And
feed
big
too.
screen, guys, big screen. I mean, again, you look at these movies, they were made for the big screen.
Oh, most
Boy, I
certainly.
would love to
experience.
see The Unforgiven.
Oh,
Oh, my
man.
goodness.
Yeah, I will see The Unforgiven.
That's
Yeah.
and then War with Grandpa.
Ah,
We still got that. That's still
That's still
hanging in there
playing, too.
too. So yeah, another PG one kind of a
Robert De
kind of a
Niro.
family kids thing. Yeah.
so
Robert
what
De Niro,
leaves
right?
on Wednesday with the new movie coming in on Wednesday?
Exorcist will be gone
Ah.
Sunday. Then we'll be closed Monday, Tuesday, and then
Right.
Hillbilly Elegy will open on Wednesday.
All right, so lots of good reasons.
And Glenn Close, what'd you say? She's
Seven
seven Academy.
nominations and hasn't won.
Yeah.
But this
amazing.
This could be the changer.
What is kind of confusing to me as a movie buff is I thought she did really well in Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, where she played an elderly woman in a wheelchair. And I thought she did great, but she was not nominated for that.
And who'd have guessed? What was the name of it again?
Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
Oh,
You,
wow.
know, you do almost have to see that movie.
Really?
There's
It's
some-
a lot. Oh, I know the part that you like.
Yeah, there's
These insane bookends here, right?
there's some images that are gonna burn into your brain. They will not leave your head.
Yeah, for that reason, like The Exorcist, right? Yeah, really, burn into your head.
Wow. Hey, by the way, we are coming to you live on Facebook this morning too, so if you want to, chime in. Matter of fact, I think Chris is in the back office here. He just posted up Child's Play with Chucky. Chucky. That's not one of your favorite?
That's another one they did.
That's a
The first one wasn't bad.
creepy-
It wasn't. They went to
Ah.
5 or 6 of them. We were up into the Bride of Chucky.
Did they do that many?
Just-
Oh, God, yes,
And
yeah.
the Mistress of Chucky.
The son of the bride is the mistress of
Sometimes
Chucky.
Friday
The
the
baker
13th.
down the street from Chucky.
Friday the 13th was another one. That was
Oh.
a great horror film.
And then,
They literally did,
Right.
I think, 13 of those
They milked
things,
it. They
and
really
they
milked
had one where it was
Ah.
Jason and Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street
Right?
were in space fighting each other. It was just, what are we doing? We've
Yeah.
taken this too far.
Chucky.
Well, I don't think it's possible to take a successful franchise too far. And just to make that point, I would say, how
Craig and
many,
I are over here.
how many Sharknado movies have they made?
Oh, God.
Sharknado.
And what about Piranha 3D? Now that's a good movie. It's got a
Okay.
stupid title, but it's a good movie.
Well, the one thing good about Chucky is that I understand he's retired from films now. He's gone off and opened up his own chain of pizza places, Chuck E. Cheese. And so hopefully we'll be able to get away from the cheesy movies and just enjoy pizza.
Oh.
And if you have a Chuck E. Cheese franchise, I'm just kidding.
Just kidding.
But anyway, Callie.
Did you ever see the movie about the sailboat guys? That was really fun.
The
Wasn't
sailboat
that
guys.
Piranha 3 Double D?
I think it was Double D. I think you're right.
Wait a minute, there's a double entendre.
No, it's just-
Insert flotation device
No.
joke here.
that's exactly what it sounds like. Yeah, that film is rated R.
Somehow,
No,
somehow I missed that one.
in Master and Commander, the
Oh, yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
There's a good movie.
yeah,
Great.
that is a good movie.
Great movie.
They're sitting around in the wardroom after dinner, and you know the voyages are long, and they're telling jokes and stuff. And one of the guys tells the captain, a man who would pun would pick a pocket.
Ha, well, you gotta,
And somehow that just popped into my mind.
can't imagine why.
Really, you
What does
are
that
a
even
fountain of
mean?
useless
What?
knowledge.
By the way, what's in your wallet? Sorry. So our theme this morning, moving right along, and boy,
Is
golly,
that
don't
a
you think
pickle
we're
in your
up
pocket, or are
You
you just
just-
glad to see me?
All right.
You know,
May.
Mae West is one of the
She's
underrated
wonderful.
actresses of all
Oh,
time.
oh,
But we
oh.
should do a Mae West
We
film
should,
festival.
we should, yeah.
That'd be
Did Mae
fun.
West ever work with the Marx Brothers?
I don't think so.
You know, they should have. I mean, we should actually do something where they can
Worked
dance
with
together.
W.C. Fields, though.
Oh, yes, she did, yes. And those two, you know.
Oh, wait, boy, you bother me.
Well, and he said, you know, I never drink water because fish in it.
Hmm. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta figure out something to disinfect that, I guess. Now, moving right along, and again, I think we should.
And you know what Mae West said one time?
No, what?
There are only two kinds of fellas that I truly enjoy, and that is the domestic and the imported.
Yeah, she had some really high standards. So, coup d'etat.
Fortunately
movies.
for some of us, huh?
Exactly.
Really.
Coup d'etat movies. When you start thinking about, an overthrow of the government type movie and stuff, and of course with everything that's going on right
That could
now
never happen.
with the
No.
election,
No.
it just was something that was kind of top of the mind in our conversations this morning. And we started talking about coup d'etat movies, and by golly, I even looked up on Wikipedia because you can trust everything there.
Well, you
right?
have to define coup d'etat too. It's a French term which means a blow against the state.
There you go.
And coup is like a blow,
Right?
d'etat of the state.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
How do you say that in French?
Coup d'etat,
How do you say it in English?
coup d'etat.
Ah, okay, good. I'm glad we got to that. Now,
Coop. I think in English it's coop.
no, it's very close to that,
Like
though.
a chicken coop.
I think it might just be poop, I'm not sure.
Chickens from space, right?
Well, so when we start
What
to,
about Tonton Macoute?
Tonton Macoute they were the secret police of Papa Doc Duvalier in Haiti, and they were scary,
Papa
scary
Doc,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
know a little
remember
bit
him.
about that.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. So they-
Boogeyman is
yeah.
what
Well, they were.
essentially what it.
They piggybacked on the voodoo myth, and they were said to be.
Myth?
Well, sorry, I know, Mr. Zombie guy.
Geez,
Well, I tell you what.
you never saw the Serpent and the Rainbow, did you?
Rainbow,
I
yeah,
did,
there
I
we go.
did.
So, and myth,
Yeah, I know.
hardly.
Well, I'm myth of.
And
I'm myth
the head of the-
I'm not myth Terrier.
The head of the Tonton Macoute kept souls in jars
Yes.
in his office.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oui. And remember,
Whoa.
Haiti, they speak French. It's kind of a bastardized French, but
Right.
it's French.
Tonton Macoute.
well, I tell you, for whatever it's worth, the guy that got me into doing disasters, Dr. Larry Ward, he had over 40 years working in over 70 countries, and he said out of every place that he'd been, the two darkest places in the world were Calcutta, India, and Cité Soleil, which is a slum in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And the very first place he took me to was
You just spoke French.
Calcutta, and I did, definitely pick up on the darkness there. I'd never seen anything like that since until in 2010 I was down in Haiti for the earthquake
Right.
there, and it's the stuff that'll make the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
You have hair.
And the food was lousy too. But anyway, although a fantastic pumpkin soup, and I would have never thought that pumpkin soup could be good, but it's a holiday tradition.
We
in
had that in
Haiti.
Jamaica. It was great.
Oh, man.
It was very savory.
When they came out with it, they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, pumpkin soup," and I'm like, "Oh, great!
Yeah.
Let me just try and
It's
choke this
good.
down." And oh man,
Really
I had to go back
good.
for
Yeah.
seconds on that.
Yeah.
All right, so coup d'etat movies.
Coup d'etat.
One of the ones that I found kind of interesting is I'd forgotten that it really had a coup to it was The Dark Knight Rises, a
Yes.
Batman movie.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So that's one in a long list.
Mhm.
The Death of Stalin is another.
Yes.
Now, do you have a favorite, when you think about all this?
Wasn't that a TV movie,
What's that?
The Death of
The
Stalin.
Death of Stalin?
That I don't
Might
know.
have
Let me
been,
look.
yeah.
The Death of Stalin is a 2017 political satire,
Oh.
black comedy film written and directed by Armando, something with a very long last name.
No, I was thinking of the 1954 movie.
Ah. The Death of Stalin, wow.
Yes, I do have a favorite.
So what's your favorite?
The Manchurian Candidate with
Ooh.
Lawrence Harvey, Angela Lansbury, Frank Sinatra, made in 1962.
62. I
And
didn't-
written by Richard Condon, who wrote it. It was a 1959 novel.
But that's been remade
Yes,
again,
it was
though.
remade with Denzel Washington by Jonathan Demme, who was a great director. And Liev Schreiber and Meryl Streep were in that.
Oh.
But really my favorite is the black and white original because it is super, super creepy.
Yeah, it is very creepy.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, and the brainwashing scenes were just unbelievable. The brainwashing of the soldiers by the Chinese.
Right.
Imagine that. The Chinese,
Gosh,
who
when you
are
talk
not
about-
our friends, okay? They are not our friends.
And just to show you how strange my brain is, when you said brainwashing,
Mhm.
instantly, the movie that popped into my head was A Clockwork Orange.
Yes, indeed.
That was a
Not
bizarre.
a cool movie,
Yeah,
but a good
that's-
brainwash.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
definitely weird.
But there's an obscure movie, but it should be watched by everybody.
Hmm.
It's called Archangel, and Daniel Craig stars in that. It is about a guy who's a scholar who goes to Russia to research some very strange indications that something's going on there to rise up against. Stalin is dead,
Mhm.
but it turns out that he had a son, and there are people who are plotting to overthrow the government, bringing Stalin's son to the forefront.
Huh.
It's an excellent movie. I've watched that probably 10 or 15 times. It's really good.
So when we're talking about movies focused on a coup, Andy, is there one that pops into your head that is the best?
You're living dangerously.
You're Living Dangerously.
Oh,
That's
man,
a good choice.
yeah. Mel
Yeah.
Gibson,
Right.
Sigourney Weaver, based on true events
Right.
about Sukarno in Indonesia, and Linda Hunt playing a man.
When was that? 60?
early.
I mean, not the movie. when
Linda
was the
Hunt was
coup?
playing a man in that movie?
Oh, it was in, geez, I have to
72 or
look,
something
look
like
it
that?
up. But we lived in Singapore, which you could see Indonesia from Singapore when
Right.
we lived there in the 50s. And there was a great deal of upheaval then, and I think it was in the 60s that there was a coup.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that is an amazing movie.
That's an amazing country.
What,
spent some time
what
there.
happened historically is the Communist Party of Indonesia got the word from Peking or Beijing,
Beijing?
and they said, "We want you to. It's time. The historical signs are all lined up. It's time for a coup." And we want the Communist Party to engineer a coup and take over the country.
And they did.
And yeah, well, they certainly tried, but
Yeah.
the armed forces was able to suppress it.
Mhm.
And since most of the communists were ethnic Chinese, and the Indonesians all owed ethnic Chinese shopkeepers a tab,
Right.
they killed all the Chinese they could find.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's,
And
Mm.
lots and lots and lots and lots of them, utterly innocent
Mhm.
people were just savagely butchered in
Yeah.
the streets. And of course, the Communist Party was exterminated. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But that's what happens in any kind of coup, is that all kind, you hear people saying, right, well, we're maybe up for a civil war now, or, please, it's not that, if it happens, people will have to deal with it, but it's messy, horrible, and tragic.
Now, we have to take a break, and on K-Rim here, we're going to get back to more of your favorite music, but if you'd like to continue on with us, we're going to talk for another half hour, and we're coming to you live on Facebook Live, so go on Facebook, look for K-Rim FM, and follow us along there. As a matter of fact, got to tell you a little story from Indonesia, speaking of how strange things can be. There's something that we were exposed to whilst working at the far eastern end of the archipelago. We'll talk about that and also find out what Craig's favorite coup d'etat movie is, and go on Facebook Live and let us know yours as well. And we got a little bit more to talk about when it comes to all of that. But here on the radio on K-Room right now, I'm going to get you back to more of your favorite music. Have some tunes coming up for you from Led Zeppelin, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Steve Miller Band, and more. But first, a quick look at Rim Country weather.
Archipelago.
Huh?
Archipelago, that is some good word usage.
Well, it's when you got like, I don't know, a few thousand islands. It's like the
Yeah,
Philippines.
it
I mean,
is,
it's like
yeah.
7,000 islands. And
Yeah.
it's like it's over kind of that way.
Yeah, well, even Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just to finish that, now that the rest of the radio world is out of the picture and it's just us, went over a few years ago, about, I don't know, 6 years ago, with the Grossman Burn Centers in California, just do amazing reconstructive work on horrifically burned victims. And they had formed the Grossman Burn Foundation, and they've been doing some amazing things for like people in Afghanistan and other places that are victims of war that are burnt badly, and it's astounding the work that they do. But whilst working there with them, we went over to start up a regional burn clinic in a little, what they call a hospital. It's more like a dirty little shack where medical things are done. But in that particular village, I was astounded to hear that and this wasn't that terribly many years ago, the only Christian village in all of Indonesia was located there. And there was a few hundred people, all Christians, that were living there. Well, one day, a bunch of the other folks living there that make up the vast majority decided they'd had enough of that, so they rushed the village with machetes and just slashed everyone to death. And people were trying to get out over the wall of the village to get out, and bodies were piling up as they got out. A couple did to share the story, but for that, for the most part, the whole place was wiped out. And when you start looking at that, again, this debate is on the spiritual end of things, obviously, but it's astounding what humans will do to each other, and that left a real lasting mark in my heart. Now,
Well, think about another coup movie, Hotel Rwanda,
oh,
right?
that's a good
With,
one.
what's his name?
Cheadle.
Cheadle. Don Cheadle. Oh my goodness, what an amazing movie that was. And they really appointed at the UN as being totally useless because they came in and they did nothing about the slaughter. And that was, a real story, fictionalized, but really good, really good. Yeah, but different movies. I
Right.
mean, favorite coup movie?
Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't asked you yet, Craig. What's
Yeah. We're gonna stage a coup against you if you
V
don't.
for Vendetta.
Yeah.
V for Vendetta, or anything that Disney's come out with? Sorry, different Vendetta.
Yeah,
He's
keep
gonna have a
bringing
coup
that up.
against Disney right now, right? But Guy Fawkes, back in the 1600s, the V for Vendetta kind
There's
of.
Natalie Portman in that one too.
Yeah. Hugo Weaving, yeah. Stephen Ray,
It's just
yeah, it was a good movie.
Well, Wikipedia has a few listed that
Yeah.
that I've not
That's
heard
good.
before. The Battle of Chile, I've not seen that. Also, and you when we talked before going on the air, you had heard this one, Elysium.
Yes,
I've not seen that one.
yeah, I
but,
don't know if I've seen it.
Matt Damon?
That's a 2013 science fiction action
Yeah,
film
Matt
written,
Damon.
produced, and directed by Neil Blomkamp. It stars Matt Damon,
Matt
Jodie
Damon,
Foster,
right.
Alice Braga, and
Oh, yeah.
Charlton Copley.
Alice
That was-
Braga, wasn't she the Borg? Didn't she play the head of the Borg in Star
Wars?
Trek?
Star Trek, yeah.
Oh, really?
I think.
That was when they had there was a satellite city floating above the Earth, and the Earth was just destroyed at this point. So if you were
Yeah, the
if you were-
whole Earth looked like parts of LA does now.
yeah,
San Francisco.
just a terrible. But yeah, if you had the money and the influence, and you got to live up there on Elysium, kind of floating above everything, and
You could rise above it all.
well, they even show a part where this woman, she gets this little like tube thing, and it scans for cancer,
Mhm.
And it goes, oh, cancer detected, and then it goes, went back the other way, it's like, cancer eliminated. So they just had, this
Mm.
utopian society floating above the earth.
Wow, interesting. I have to check that one out. Elysium, interesting.
Yeah.
Another one is Flesh and Blood, 1985 movie. That one's not ringing a dinger with me, but
Rutger Hauer?
1985 romantic historical adventure
Rutger
film
Hauer.
directed by Paul Verhoeven
Verhoeven,
and
yeah.
starring Rutger Hauer,
Yes.
Jennifer Jason Leigh, Tom Burlinson, and Jack Thompson.
I believe I've actually seen that.
That
but I
is,
can't
that
remember.
is a great
Yeah,
movie.
and
Yeah.
Rutger Hauer was stellar. He was wonderful.
Yeah, it's about the Italian wars in the Renaissance, where
Yes.
just, where everybody were mercenaries and double dealing and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's really a good movie, but it's most famous because it's got full frontal on Jennifer Jason Leigh, who portrays in the movie 14 or 15-year-old girl. And I don't know how old Jennifer Jason Leigh was when the movie was made, but she's portrays an underage girl. It's very controversial at the
Yeah,
time.
I bet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's another one now. As far as coup movies, this one goes all the way back to 1934. And this is another one that I've not heard of. It may be astounding to some of you.
Nope, not astounding.
Not at all. Lady in Danger.
Yes.
A 1934 British comedy thriller film
Yes.
directed by Tom Walls and starring Walls, Yvonne Arnaud,
Yes.
and Anne Gray.
I've seen that. I hadn't even. I mean, man, that is a good movie.
That goes back.
Yeah.
Goes back before my time. But
Yeah, even mine.
Apparently not hers, but.
Yeah.
Ouch. How about The Man Standing Next?
Never heard of it.
That was it's a 2020 South Korean political drama film
Oh.
dedicated by Woo Min Ho.
Shoot.
Might be why we haven't seen that one yet. I'm not sure.
Well, give me the title
The
again.
Man Standing Next.
The Man Standing Next.
Yeah,
And it's made in
okay.
Korea,
Right.
based on an original novel of the same title. The film stars
Never
people
mind.
you've never heard before.
Right.
And it's this is let's see here, blah blah blah. Lee Hee-jun as a high-ranking officials of the Korean government and the Korean Central Intelligence Agency during the presidency of Park Chung-hee 40 days before his assassination in 1979. So it's based on real events.
Yeah, I saw one just the other day, actually, The Siege.
Oh, yeah, that's a good movie.
It's over there.
Who was in that?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Come on now, you saw it.
Yeah, I don't remember.
There were some actors.
Yeah. Bruce Willis played the
Yeah.
evil general.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis could play an evil general.
Are we forgetting Star Wars?
Yeah.
You know what? You're right. The Empire Strikes Back. It is a coup movie.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a coup.
And what an amazing smell they've discovered.
It's a coup enterprise.
Yes. Yeah.
They
Good.
just did it.
Yeah, I got
I
that.
like it. I like it.
Yeah.
How about, okay, I'm sorry.
Good one.
You're right.
7 Days in May.
7 Days in May.
Back in 1964, during worries about the nuclear crisis, that was also directed by John Frankenheimer, who directed the first Manchurian Candidate. He was a great director. And it starred Burt Lancaster, Kirk Douglas, Frederick March, and Ava Gardner. And it was about a coup against the president, imagine that, who was trying to do nuclear disarmament. And these people didn't want him to do that. So that was a good movie.
Interesting. Another one from 2003 that I think most people have probably seen, Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Yes.
Was there a coup involved in that?
Yes.
Let's see here. Yeah, this is written. This is another interesting side note before we get to that. Written, directed, produced, photographed, scored, and edited by Robert Rodriguez.
Yes.
Talk about a multitasker.
Yes, and he is an amazing guy.
It was the third and final film in Rodriguez's Mexico trilogy,
Yes.
and is a sequel to 1992's El Mariachi and 1995's Desperado.
Rodriguez is great, and
Film features
Desperado is
Antonio Banderas.
Banderas. Yes, he's
And
good. Who can dance, by the way?
yeah.
Yeah,
I ever tell you that I know his mother-in-law?
No.
that's right. You
His
know
mother-in-law is Tippi Hedren.
right?
And when we were
Yeah.
over at Tippi Hedren's place, you might remember her from The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah,
But when we were over at her place, long story, late in the evening, having coffee and chocolates, looking around her house was weird because you have, her daughter is Melanie Griffith,
Right.
and you have pictures of Melanie on the wall and Antonio Banderas, and it's just a nice home, but
A family
some
thing.
very
Yeah.
noteworthy things.
He's brilliant. He is really brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some great stuff in that series too. Johnny Depp murders. He plays and I can't remember. There's 3 movies and all in the same story, and I get them mixed up which one is which. But Johnny Depp plays a CIA agent in Mexico, and of course he's utterly corrupt. And he has the best green chili ever, pork green chili ever made, and he goes and murders the chef so that nobody else can enjoy it. I mean,
Other than that, a really nice guy.
yeah.
That's a coup against the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selma Hayek. There's a
Yes,
scene where
Selma Hayek.
she's walking down.
She's a hottie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you think.
Oh.
She's walking down the street and she causes a car wreck.
Yes.
And she
Yeah.
glances.
I remember that
And
scene.
she
That's a great
glances
scene,
back
yeah.
over her shoulder
Just-
and sees the car
Yeah.
jammed into a phone pole or something because the guys were looking at her, and she just smiles like, I
Oh,
still got it.
She is so great. Yeah.
And Janny, Rim Country's own Danny Trejo.
Yes, Danny Trejo.
is in it too, and of course he played the town drunk in Jake's Corner.
Yes. Yes. Danny just by being on screen is, you can't take your eyes off him. He's just fabulous.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And to have somebody of that caliber play the town drunk in
Yes.
the only
In our-
little movie made in Jake's Corner,
Yeah.
by the same title actually, Jake's Corner, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay.
And it has some people in it that are good, bad, and ugly.
I must intercede.
Danny Trejo, yeah.
Valkyrie with Tom Cruise and Kenneth Branagh,
Ah,
right? And Terrence Stamp. And that was a true story also about the plot to to assassinate Hitler that was foiled, unfortunately, but definitely a coup d'etat.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's a wonderful movie. I've seen that several times.
interesting.
It's,
Another coup d'etat movie going all the way back to 1978, British-Canadian thriller film starring Peter O'Toole and David Hemmings, based on the nonfiction strategy book of Coup d'etat. And remember what the name of it is?
no, but I've seen it.
Coup d'etat?
Power Play.
Yes, I've seen it. And Peter O'Toole, he did so many different things. He
I
was
think
amazing.
he could
Yeah.
act his way through the phone
Oh,
book.
it was fabulous.
Um,
Right.
and then I think somebody may have mentioned this already, the 1964 movie 7 Days in May.
Yes, that
yeah.
was the one.
That's another one that,
That's a Frankenheimer, same guy as directed Manchurian Candidate.
And they also had Valkyrie.
And The Train, which nobody's seen except me, but.
I saw it.
You saw, oh, good. Nobody's seen except Andy and me. It's made by Frankenheimer about a corrupt German general who steals art from, during the Second World War, they just pillaged and raped and took stuff. And Paul Scofield is in that, the great Paul Scofield.
Wow.
That's a wonderful movie.
There's one other movie that I remember seeing, and this is 10 years ago. This came out in 2010, but I completely forgot that there was a coup in this one. This is another sci-fi flick. Tron Legacy.
Tron. Yeah.
2010 American science fiction action film directed by Joseph Kosinski
Yes.
in his feature directorial debut from a screenplay written by some other people.
Yeah. Jeff Bridges was in that.
It was a sequel to the 1982 film Tron.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not sure if I saw Tron Legacy. I remember I saw the original Tron.
Mhm.
Maybe that's where my confusion came, because that went all the way back to '82, and
Mhm.
I remember very little of that year.
No, it was really good. And David,
Film at 11.
What is
I
this?
hope not.
What is this? If you remember the 60s, you weren't there. I mean, what is this? A version of that?
Woohoo.
David Warner was in that, and he's one of my favorite kind of character, strange, little wild actors.
Right?
Yeah. So anyway, Tron is good.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges. By the way, Jeff Bridges apparently has pancreatic cancer, and we need to pray for him. So he's a wonderful guy.
Yeah, he's played some great parts.
Yes. Yes.
Well, so any other coup d'etat movies that can come to anyone's mind? Because I'm fresh out on my list.
Well, I don't know if they've made a movie about the actual Guy Fawkes, who was, by the way, Italian. His real name was Guido Fawkes. And yesterday was Guy Fawkes Day, which is November 5th, and that, comes over into V for Vendetta. Remember the 5th of November. Guy Fawkes plotted to blow up Parliament. It was called the Gunpowder Plot in 1605, and he was caught, and he killed himself by breaking his neck before he could be drawn and quartered. Smart guy. I mean, if you remember
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna
Braveheart,
pick between the two.
right? Yeah.
And he actually, but he was on the gallows or something when it happened, right?
Yeah, he was, last minute, he foiled them. But that was, it's a big holiday in Britain, and since I grew up in British countries, it was a big holiday where I was, and they have fireworks, and they take an effigy of Guy, and they burn it, and we foiled.
Sounds like a party.
Yeah, and it was a Catholic Protestant war, that was happening in England, and he was Catholic, and he was it John Calvin, I think, that he went up against the Protestant. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But yesterday in my yoga class, I dedicated my yoga practice to Guy Fawkes Day. Well, come on.
It was a killer
It was
workout.
a killer workout, and I have a wonderful British American friend who's one of my yogis, and oh man, he waxed eloquent about Guy Fawkes. That's a coup. Maybe not a movie yet. Maybe we need to encourage a movie to be made.
There you go.
Yeah.
And in V for Vendetta, of course,
Yes.
the wonderful Natalie Portman
Yes.
was in that.
Yeah.
She's probably best remembered for the line she made in right at the end of Mars Attacks.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, so
That's a coup d'etat.
so I guess sort of.
Yeah.
Mars Attacks, that was a pretty.
Oh, it was great.
I like that.
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds. Yeah, there's
Yeah, but
another
it's a
one.
coup
Yeah.
d'etat.
Right.
At the end of the movie, and the Martians attack Earth, and those of you who haven't seen the movie, the Martians attack Earth, and it's a horrible bloodshed, and the cities are burning, and dead people everywhere by the millions and millions and millions.
But it's sort of a comedy.
Yeah, it is definitely a comedy.
Well, Will Smith definitely makes, punching a Martian in the face kind of fun.
So, there's all this carnage and just horror and everything. And finally they figure out a way to kill the Martians, and so the crisis is over. And she is the daughter of the president, which makes her the highest rank. She's 15-year-old girl or something, and makes her the highest ranking American. So she's awarding the Medal of Honor to this guy that figures out how to kill the Martians.
Right.
Another teenager, by the way.
Yeah.
And so it's all over, and she kind of glances at this guy and says, "So, do you have a girlfriend?"
So there's going to be a sequel. Hopefully, no little Martians.
Well, one of my favorite lines from that movie, I mean, just for no particular reason, Jack Nicholson, and he's with Jim Brown, and they're in the car, and Jim Brown is trying to clean up his act, and Jack Nicholson is just this corrupt, the gamma, and he plays how many parts? 2 or 3?
I don't
I don't know. He
remember.
plays the president, and he plays this, just a big Vegas shark. And so Jim Brown is, oh man, why are you working on me? I found Allah. I'm cleaning my act. I give up pork and blah blah blah. And
See,
there's
there's the
this dead
mistake. Never give up bacon.
Well, dead silence. And Jack Nicholson looks at him and says, "You give up pork?"
What are you thinking?
And my husband and I say that around the house before we eat bacon. Mom, you give up pork? No, I didn't give up pork.
Bacon, it's its own food group.
Yeah. My husband has a shirt that says "Bacon is my spirit animal."
Smoking hot.
Which I gave him.
I like that. I like it a lot. All right, so we're just about out of time. One other thing that we need to touch on real quick here is other movies that are going to be coming. You know, we're getting into the holidays now, and so you know,
Yeah.
again, things more and more getting back, you know, to some semblance of normal in the movie world. What else do we have coming down the
We've
pike here
got-
soon?
Well, you know, for Thanksgiving, you know, after Hillbilly Elegy and these, The Croods.
The Croods.
Yes, yeah, it's an animated kids movie.
Oh,
That'll be the big
Very,
one.
very
was-
successful.
Yeah, that'll be the big one for Thanksgiving.
I thought it was a movie about my relatives.
No, we got a couple then, we're bringing back How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Huh?
Yay.
This is, we're actually coming up on the 20-year anniversary of Sawmill Theaters. It
Ooh,
was,
Has it been 20
it
years?
was November,
Grief.
yeah, it was 20 years ago in November that we opened up, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas
And we
was
got to
our
get out
first
there and
film.
support the theater because
Hey.
if you were here before that, you remember the Pace and Picture Show. You know,
I do.
yesterday's movies today. We got a lot going. I mean, 20. I didn't realize it'd been 20 years already.
Wow.
Years, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, Rim Country, your mission, and you must choose to accept it, is to go to the theater.
And eat popcorn
Yes.
and drink soda pop.
Yeah,
And
buy at the concession stand.
that's right. Get the
And then
kids all
tell
wired
Craig
up.
how much you love him and appreciate him.
and what's this Kevin
Buy the
Costner?
popcorn.
What's this Kevin Costner movie all about?
What?
That
Let-
starts today.
Let him go. Let him go. Yeah, you know, it's Kevin Costner and Diane Lane. Their daughter dies, and she's married to a
Guy.
a bad guy. Yeah, so they go to get their grandkid back. It is rated R. That's for violence.
For
So
violence, yeah. No naked people.
Yeah, there's not a they don't give up on that easy. So it's kind of turns into a fight. It looks pretty interesting.
Oh, that sounds really
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, Costner plays a retired sheriff, and I think it is exactly the kind of role that he is best at. You know,
He
he's in
really
that
excels.
he's in that series on TV Yellowstone where he
Ooh,
plays
yeah.
a really tough out west guy, and of course he was in shoot, what was
The
that?
Highwayman.
No, what was that other one? TV miniseries about out west.
Oh,
Great one, great.
Stump the movie
no,
guys.
no,
Oh,
not getting it.
wait a minute, I've got it right here.
But wait, there's more.
He even wrote it down. Earth ending.
It's getting old ain't for sissies, I tell you.
Open Range.
Open. Oh, we just saw that, and it has the best music at the end.
Really?
Oh my God,
That was a
great.
miniseries?
It was a movie
Oh,
with
it is.
Annette
It's a
Bening.
TV movie.
It was
yeah.
Annette Bening was in that. Oh,
She's good.
Yeah, it's about
wonderful.
4 hours long or 6
Oh, I
hours long.
love
or
it. I
something.
loved every minute of it. I love it. Yeah.
All right, Tina approved, so there you go.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, you can always find out what's playing and when it's playing by going online to sawmilltheaters.com. And the bottom line is get out there this weekend and check out some of the great flicks playing at the Sawmill Theaters. And don't forget, again, tomorrow, the Rim Country Republican Club is presenting
Trump
Trump
card.
card.
Trump
Trump
card.
card.
By Dinesh D'Souza. And they.
Dinesh
and
D'Souza.
they
This
had-
one's sharp cookie,
And I'll tell you, he just had that movie that left, Infidel,
right?
with Jim Caviezel. It was fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
interesting.
We should support, particularly Dinesh D'Souza, because he's a movie maker who really does great stuff.
Mhm.
And
He's a foreigner, too.
Yeah, and he's a
But other than that, a good guy.
Yeah, well, I just had my students at Gila Community College read his, I'm sorry, Eastern Arizona College, Payson campus.
Highway
Well,
260 in Payson.
Yeah, but they just read his essay about coming to America as an immigrant.
Oh,
And why he
that was
loves
fun.
America and all the things that made it special for him as opposed to these other countries where you cannot rise above your status, particularly where he came from in India where there's such a stratified caste system. He is brilliant and needs support. Yeah.
Cool. Well, anyway, so again, get out there, support the theaters, and also we.
As is Craig.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
No, what about
and the theater.
real quick too? I mean, you've got the faith-based film series. What
Mhm.
what Saturday of the month is that? Or
It's the third Saturday of the month.
Third
I think it's
Saturday of the month?
November 21st,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I think
Yeah.
Hey,
it's.
how'd that potato movie go?
It did all right. Yeah, we had 15 people or so.
Well, it's
That's
creeping back up.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's kind of what we're looking at. We're
Yeah.
creeping back up, and That's what we're shooting
I'm just
for.
as creepy as always. So.
Yeah.
And one of the wonderful things that I really appreciate about Craig is how he is always willing to try something new.
Absolutely.
You know, he has birthday movies for little kids, and he'll show some screwball little kids movie. He'll show the faith-based movies. Of course, he does the patriotic movies for the Republican Club. I mean, anything anybody wants to see, he's willing to show them. It's just great.
Well, almost. Just wanted to put that little caveat. Although maybe.
I'm going on if the money's right.
Hey, thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it. And with that, we'll see you
Troubled
next week.
times.